Okay, so yesterday you learned how to solve systems by graphing, and today we're going to look at a different way. We're still going to be able to solve systems, okay? Systems of equations are two or more equations. Okay, graphing, you can plot it and see where it's going. Today we're going to be looking at this substitution, okay? Later on in the week we'll be doing elimination. Solution is where the x and the y meet, okay? Or it's what x and what y make both statements true. The intersection, also the solution, same thing. One solution is when they cross only once. Infinite solutions is when they're the same line, one right on top of the other. No solution is when the lines are parallel. Independent system, a system of equation that has only one solution. Dependent can have more than one. Consistent is if it ever crosses at all. Inconsistent is if it never ever crosses. Okay, so let's look at your worksheet for today. First, put your name on it. Don't forget that. The topic today is substitution. Substitution. What is it? It's a method of solving systems of equations by substituting equations within one another. Okay? So now, step one, solve one equation for x or y. That's the first step. Step two, substitute this expression into the other equation and solve for the variable. Then substitute your answer into the revised equation from step one and solve for the other variable. Okay, so let's look at a few examples. You ready? Number one tells us y equals 6x. So y is 6x. So what we're going to do is in this equation, instead of putting y, we're going to put 6x because y is 6x. Okay, so look at this. We have 2x plus 3, and instead of y, we're putting 6x equals negative 20. Okay, so it's the same exact equation, just instead of y, we put 6x. Now we're going to solve for x. So we have 2x plus 3 times 6x is 18x equals negative 20. We combine like terms. 2x plus 18x is 20x equals negative 20. And then divide by 20. So x equals negative 20 divided by 20 is negative 1. So now that we have x equals negative 1, we're going to go back to this first equation. Because now we need to find y. Y equals 6 times what do you think? Well, what does x equal? X is negative 1. So now instead of x, we're going to put that negative 1. Okay, so now y equals, what's 6 times negative 1? Negative 6. So we have that x is negative 1 and y is negative 6. So the answer here will be negative 1, negative 6. Okay? Let's look at the next one. We have y equals x plus 9, and then we have this. We need to make sure at least one of them is either y equals or x equals. It can be either one. This one is y equals. So let's write it in. 3x plus 8. Instead of y, what do you think we're going to put? Well, y is x plus 9, so we're going to put x plus 9. So 3x plus 8y equals negative 5. Now we're going to solve. 3x plus 8 times x is 8x. 8 times 9 is 72. equals -5. Okay, so now combining like terms, 3x plus 8x, 8, 9, 10, 11, it's 11x, plus 72 equals -5. We're trying to get x by itself, so now we have to subtract 72 from both sides. Let's move it over here. So we have 11x equals -5 minus 72 is what? -77. Now we need to divide by 11. X equals -77 divided by 11 is -7. And you can type these in your calculator, that's okay. So now we need to figure out what y is. We know what x is, so we need to figure out what y is. So pick an equation. This one's probably the easiest. Y equals, instead of x, what are we going to put? Well, x is -7. So -7. Y equals x plus 9, plus 9. So what's -7 plus 9? Type it in. It's 2. So if x is -7 and y is 2, always put x first. -7, +2. Okay. Number 3. Doing it again. So this one is at x equals. So that means we're not going to plug in for y, we're going to plug in for x. So we have 2. What does x equal? 4y plus 7. So 2x minus 6y equals 12. 2 times 4y is 8y. 2 times 7 is 14. Minus 6y equals 12. Combine like terms, the y's. So 8y minus 6y is 2y. Then we have that plus 14 equals 12. Now we need to subtract the 14. So we have 2y equals, what's 12 minus 14? -2. Divide by 2. -2 divided by 2 is -1. So now we know what y is, and we have to find what x is. We have to find what x is. I'd use this because it looks really easy. So x equals 4 times what? -1, because that was y, plus 7. So x equals, what's 4 times -1? That's -4 plus 7. What's -4 plus 7? That's 3. So your answer here is going to be, remember x first, 3, then y, -1. Okay, very last one. Now this one, neither one is set to x equals or y equals, so we have to make that happen first. This one looks like the easiest because there's just a plain old y here, so we're going to move that x. So now we have y equals, when we move the x, it becomes -2x plus 9. Now we can do things like we normally would. So I'm going to use this equation, 2x minus 3, and instead of y, we're going to put -2x plus 9. So we have 2x minus 3y equals -11. Let's solve. 2x, -3 times -2x is positive 6x. -3 times 9 is -27 equals -11. Now we combine like terms. 6x plus 2x is 8x minus 27 equals -11. Okay, now we're going to add that 27. So we have 8x equals -11 plus 27 is what? It's 16. Divide by 8. 16 divided by 8 is 2. So we have x. Now we need to find y. Let's find y. So I'm going to go back to the original equation. No, it doesn't really matter. You can use either one. So let's do y equals Negative 2 times what? Times that 2. Negative 2x plus 9. So y equals, what's negative 2 times 2? Negative 4 plus 9. So y equals, what's negative 4 plus 9? 5. Remember x first, so we're going to do 2, 5. Okay? So now on the back side, you're going to need to do the same thing we've been doing. This one here, I suggest solving for y equals. This one looks like solve for x equals, and so on, okay? You're going to do the exact same steps we did. Remember, if you get some number like 3 equals 5, that's not true. So this would be no solution, okay? But if you get something like 17 equals 17, that's true, but the x's are gone. So that would be infinite solutions. So keep that in mind while you're solving the worksheet. Okay, let me know if you need any help. Good luck, guys. Be sure to submit your answers online.